A really big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video.
Oh my goodness me, I have to show you this right from the off. We do a bit of a spin for you. Autumn has just not arrived in the Lake District. It is so green still. And it feels quite strange because, of course, the last couple of videos that I've released were from the Cairngorms in Scotland. And it was extremely autumnal. So, yeah, this is weird. It almost feels like I've gone back in time a little bit. But, of course, we're a fair bit more south here. So, generally speaking, autumn does take a little bit longer to arrive. Oh, so I mean, as much as I love Scotland, and I do, it's one of the faves. It's just always so lovely to be out in the Lake District. And today I've got, I suppose, a bit of a different walk planned. I'm not going up a fell. I'm just fancying a bit of a low-lying walk, I suppose. I've got a 10 kilometre or about a 6 mile loop planned. And yeah, there shouldn't be too much elevation. But weird thing is the reasoning behind it was to try and get stuck into autumn. But like I said, it's so green. But we have got pockets, and I like pockets of autumn in obviously woodland areas. So as far as the photography is concerned, I still think this is going to be quality. Now I also want to chat about a big mistake that I honestly believe many landscape photographers make, and perhaps they will make if they're beginners going forward. It's something I used to do a lot. It's something I talk about a lot as well, because I think it's really important. And we'll get into that soon enough. But first, I think we're approaching a waterfall. And if you watch me quite often, you will know how much I love a waterfall. Wow, this is brilliant. Absolutely gorgeous subject. Look at that. It's like a twin falls or a triplet if you include the top one as well. However, I hope this comes through on the camera, but this is dodgy. There must be another way around, because I mean, there's too much mess in front of the waterfall here for me to even think about taking an image. So if I want to get a shot, really, I've got to try and get down a bit more up close and personal with the waterfall, you know, on the level of the river really. But yeah, this is all looking pretty dodgy indeed. So I'm going to take my time and try not to break a leg, most importantly. So if you ever come here, you'll sort of see, this is called Colwith Force, by the way. If you ever come here, look, there is sort of a few little paths leading down to the riverbank, which is, as landscape photographers, exactly where we want to be to photograph that. But very, very dodgy. So, I mean, I'd almost discourage you from doing this, but I've got the photograph in my mind's eye, and yeah, I want to give it a go. It's just this little first bit. By the time I'm probably at that tree, although it might not look like it on the camera, it's not quite as steep there. So I want to be down there where we've got all of those rapids, thinking I could use them as foreground. With obviously that in the background, but even that, look at that lovely little gaff there as well. Oh, this is absolutely amazing. Oh, so it's an awkward enough position here, and as you can see, I'm not quite down at the bottom of the riverbank just yet. I'm still up on the cliffs, because whilst I'm here, I want to take the opportunity to take a panorama. That gaff needs to be in the photograph on the right hand side. So of course the OM5, like I've mentioned recently, has got the Live ND, the built-in neutral density filters. So I'm able to shoot my panorama here at 1/4 of a second, which is absolutely perfect. So I think it's quite a lot of shots. It's about 7 shots from the right-hand side, from the gaff, all the way across to the waterfall. And obviously handheld, just being as careful as I can so that these images can stitch together. But 1/4 of a second is giving me that perfect movement in the water, and I think it'll look quite nice. I'll put it up on the screen now. Fingers crossed that's worked out. What I will say is, as you're looking at it there, and I'm sure you'll agree with this, this has got to be one to come back to in autumn. Imagine this when it's, you know, polychromatic, all different colours going on. I think it'll just elevate the whole scene, and hopefully we can get a better photograph. But yeah, that's nice. Right, I'm going to head down. This is dodgy, man, this is dodgy, but I'm going to head down and see if we can get one more composition, because this is a beautiful subject. Wow, what an awkward one. You can see now we're a bit further down. This is as far down as I'm going to get without getting wet, to be honest. But I've grabbed, I think I've got the shot that was in my mind's eye that I was visualising as soon as I seen this subject. And that is basically some of these cascades down in the foreground, and then obviously the river then leads us up to that beautiful section of falls there. And I love all the moss. The greenery actually works quite well. I do think it'll be better when we're in autumn and we've got a bit of colour, but this is nice. It has, like, I suppose, a little bit of a spooky feeling to it, and yeah, I do like it. And I love this sort of photography as well, and I absolutely love that I can do this handheld on my new camera, on the OM5. It's quality. Now, the only thing that I was thinking about, that I've just completely forgotten about it recently, is a frigging polarising filter. The camera's got built-in ND filters, but it certainly hasn't got a built-in polarising filter. That would be cool. So next time I come out, I need to remember that, because I think a polarizer would have definitely benefited this scene, because there are a lot of reflections. So I just wanted to show you, I've come a little bit further around, and you can see we're sort of at the top of the waterfall now, but certainly doesn't feel like there's an image here because of all of that mess. But I'm happy with what I've got, and I'm going to continue with the little loop track. Oh, so that felt like a real frantic start to the photo shoot this morning, and if I'm being honest, I don't really like it when it's like that. I like to start off slow and sort of feel my way into the adventure a little bit, and, you know, not get the camera out straight away. So apologies if that was chaotic, but sometimes it's just the way it is. So we're going through this beautiful section of woodland here to start off this loop walk, like I said, and we're going to sort of scoot round into Little Langdale a little bit. Lots to see, hopefully lots to photograph as well. So it's currently about 11:30, and I think that helps me talk a little bit about what I wanted to touch upon today, and that is going out during the middle of the day. It's a classic, isn't it, with landscape photographers, that we go out during the golden hours, sunrise, sunset, and we can so easily dismiss the middle of the day. I've spoken about this a lot on this channel, but I think it's really, really important, because, you know what, some of my favourite photographs have been taken during the middle of the day, in dramatic conditions, in to be honest, sometimes just quite boring conditions, you know, no special light, no fog, you know, no dusk or dawn or anything like that, just plain old middle of the day conditions. And I do think a lot of the time, especially if you can find a subject that's strong enough, it just doesn't matter. There are always photographs to be had, amazing photographs to be had at any time of day. And I think that it's a mistake. I made a mistake when I first started doing landscape photography by thinking that I always had to be out during the golden hours. Now, what I will say is, as the jets fly past, you might be able to hear them, is that I love the golden hours. You know, I'm not trying to slag them off or anything like that. It's my favourite time to be out with the camera, but I just wanted to remind myself, explain to some beginners, I suppose, that every single time of the day is brilliant to be out with your camera, and you can just get mint photographs all the time. But yeah, I do want to set that straight. I do like the golden hours. I prefer them, but I spend the majority of my time, and we all spend the majority of our time out with our cameras, for the most part, I suppose, you know, outside of the golden hours. So it's probably important to get used to it as well. Oh, look at this, is looking nice now. Look at that behind. We've got some some autumnal colour, I suppose, and then some nice views to some fells in the background. Pleasant. So you've probably just seen me using my OS maps there on my phone. I actually planned out this route last night just on my computer, which is something that I love doing. I love Ordnance Survey maps. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a cold, if you can't tell. But yeah, I love Ordnance Survey maps, and I love planning routes, just like this one. And I think I mentioned at the start of the video, the main thing that I wanted today was woodland. Albeit, like I've said, it's very green. It's going to be, I suppose, a good recce for somewhere to come back to. Maybe next week, perhaps, you know, when the colour should be here by then, or the best of it. But yeah, this loop is going to take us through some beautiful deciduous woodlands, and who knows, as of yet, we may get some patches or some areas of colour. So you know what, I've just checked myself a little bit. What I mean by that is, I feel like I'm banging on, and more worryingly, I'm thinking a lot about autumn colour. And although there was no plan to talk about this in today's video, this is another mistake. This pre-visualisation of what you expect from your photo shoot, I think that can be such a detriment for you to A, go out and get good photographs, and B, probably more importantly, to have an enjoyable photo shoot. If I spend the whole day today with autumn colour on the mind, and it's not here, or I can't find the sort of thing that I'm wanting, the sort of thing that I'm visualising, I'm going to end up leaving when I get back to my car thinking I've failed, or just feeling disappointed. And here's the thing, I'm extremely fortunate because I do this for a living, I do this full time, and I can dedicate a lot of time to my photography. So if I make that mistake today, most of the time I can come out tomorrow and rectify it, you know. So yeah, I'm super grateful, very lucky. But the reason I'm mentioning that is because I assume most of yous don't have that liberty, and I never used to have that liberty. So it feels like if you're coming out with big expectations and you're leaving disappointed, at the end of the day, you're just doing yourself a bit of a disservice, aren't you? Because you're wasting that valuable time when you're out with your camera. And again, not just in the sense of you might not return with any decent photographs, you just might not have enjoyed yourself because your expectations were sky high, and it could have somewhat ruined your whole photo shoot. So I'm going to nip that in the bud now, stop thinking about autumn colour, and just start thinking about landscape photography in general, like I usually do when I'm out with the camera. Oh man, don't you just love the crunch of the autumn leaves under the feet? Oh, I've said it so much recently, but I just love it when this time of year rolls around. So I said earlier that it's going to be mostly sort of a low-lying walk today, but we're just starting to gain a little bit of height now. And I don't know, I suppose I forgot to mention, we are going to go up by a couple of 100 metres, something like that. And I'm hoping, as you've probably just seen there, this is Oxenfell. I'm hoping we're going to get some nice vistas, hopefully some nice mountain views, but I'm not too sure. This is an area of the South Lakes that I think I must have been to every single place around this particular area, and I've always wanted to come here, so I am really looking forward to it. Oh wow, look at that. I don't know if this is kind of the high point. I haven't really been checking the maps enough, but they're nice little views, mate. We've got Weatherland over here on the left-hand side. I guess Cold Pike is probably behind the tree somewhere. Then we've got Pike of Blisco all the way around to Bowfell, Allen Crags. That is a really nice little vista. I feel like there might, maybe, is there a photograph here somewhere with the dry stone wall? Oh, I'm not too sure. I don't think there is. I'm going to continue and keep an eye out. Oh wow, look at that. That is just very, very Lakeland indeed, isn't it? I'm going to grab a quick shot of this. It's too much to decline the opportunity here with the leading line of the nice little country lane, a small little slate barn there, it looks like, trees, fells, nice clouds. It's all too much. I'm actually using the high res mode here, the handheld high res shot mode. You can hopefully see it in the menu there. And I don't think I've used this really just yet, but I'm going to give it a go here. I'm going to focus about 1/3 into the frame down there. And then all it does, hang on a minute, make sure we're level. There we go. You can see it says busy. It takes about, I don't know, 10 to 15 photographs, I think, all in one go. So I'll put it up on the screen so you can see the image. And it sort of piles them all together and gives you a high resolution photograph, of course. I think it's 50 megapixels, so that's pretty cool. And I suppose something that I probably should use more often. Oh, you know what's nice today? There's not a breath of wind. It's so still and so peaceful. It's just one of those days where you can hear the birds tweeting away. You can hear the sheep munching away on the grass. You can actually hear the noise of it. It's brilliant. It's so peaceful. Considering all the windy conditions that I've had recently, this is very, very welcomed indeed. So we're going to continue onwards, and we are soon going to hit some of the old slate quarries actually, and perhaps could be quite interesting to take some photographs of. We'll see. Oh, I love all that. I love some of these walks on the Lake District where it takes you through working farms. It's fantastic, and just always love having that reminder of how this landscape that I adore so much, that means so much to me, is it's a working landscape at the end of the day. It's very agricultural, and yeah, I just love to see it. It feels so good. It feels so traditional. Then I suppose even on that note, the slate quarries, the old mines that we're going to see and stuff, that's another indication of the past and how people have always worked on this land and exploited this land as well, if you want to look at it like that. I suppose that's perhaps an argument for another day, isn't it? This is a landscape that is, I mean, factually, this is a landscape that is scarred by human development, human interference, but for the most part, with things like the farming and stuff, like, it's just beautiful, isn't it? It's really quaint. But again, maybe arguable. I don't know. I don't want to get into it. So I've just been keeping an eye out over to these fields to the left and the right hand side of the path that I'm walking down, and I've spotted this small section here of this silver birch branch as it tumbles downwards into the bracken, and it is beautiful. All of that light is shimmering through those leaves so nicely. So I'm taking an image here that I suppose is pretty different for me, but yeah, just using the telephoto end of the lens and just zooming right in on those birch leaves, focusing on them, and we're just getting such a nice blurry background. There we go, something very, very different really, but I do feel like it's quite an intimate autumnal photograph, if you will. We've got the colours of the bracken spread about the photograph as well. Of course, the light that's coming through those birch leaves and accentuating the colour of them is so autumnal, and a few kind of trees off in the background as well that I really think are helping to give the image some depth. So yeah, really different, but I do like the look of that one on the back of the camera. Oh, so I'm really excited to show you this lovely little spot here. This is now an area known as Hodge Close, and this here more specifically is Hodge Close Quarry, a prime example of past mining industries here. I think there's some over the other side of the quarry here that's actually still active with the slate mining, but yeah, this is epic. Not the best of spots if you are scared of heights though. That is yeah, we're pretty high up here. But yeah, Hodge Close is a really good area to come to if you want variety. Probably one of the best in the Lake District. You could just dump your car over the other side of that quarry there, and there is just everything here. You've got all of the woodland, as you've seen. If you like photographing the quarries, there's more than just that one. Dry stone walls, mountain views. There's actually a Wainwright up there called Home Fell, one of my favourites. It really has got it all, and yeah, brilliant place to come to for bang for your buck as well. Right, let's get a bit further down here, and hopefully I can show you that little bit of the Cumbria Way as well. So I can just hear this noise here, and I would love somebody to please explain to me what is going on here. The only thing I can think is it's kind of like a little bit of an air vent that perhaps goes down into one of the caves just to give it some ventilation, because I know a lot of people do go down there. I don't know what is going on there. Some sort of pipe that goes into the ground, and can you hear that? It's making a little bit of a racket. Please drop something in the comments below. What is going on there? So yeah, that tiny little section of the road that we were on there for literally 30 seconds makes up part of the Cumbria Way, which is a route that stretches from South Cumbria to North Cumbria, basically, all the other way around. But it goes from Ulverston to Carlisle, excuse me, and I think people generally do it in 3 to 4 days. Camp. It goes through many towns as well, so you could stop in pubs and stuff like that. But yeah, it's something that I definitely like to do one of the days. But I just noticed on the map there, thought I'd chat to you about it. Right, we appear to be off-piste, so I shall have to find the path. It seems like we go down here. Look at that, that is really cool. Extreme, well, I suppose just like the quarry, another good, extremely good example of the old slate mining industry. Ooh, so I reckon around here somewhere is going to be a good spot to stop and have myself a little bit of lunch. Before we find somewhere, I'd love to say another big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring today's video. So if you've never heard of Squarespace, they're an all-in-one platform that you can use to build your own website. So if it's a dream that you've had, perhaps you want it for a portfolio, for your landscape images, or perhaps you've always just wanted a website because it's a good place to send people. Squarespace is a brilliant place to build that website because it's so easy, first and foremost. They've got loads of amazing looking, professional looking templates that you can use to get yourself up and running. You add a few bits of text, some images, and before you know it, you'll have a beautiful looking website. Honestly, within a couple of hours, it is so easy. Don't be intimidated by building a website through Squarespace. If at some point you'd like to sell things through your Squarespace website as well, like me, I sell prints, calendars, I sell ebooks, I advertise my one-to-one workshops on there, all sorts. Squarespace offer loads of e-commerce options as well, which means you can sell stuff. Absolutely brilliant. And they've also got fantastic customer service as well if you ever need a little bit of a helping hand, especially when you're building the website and stuff. Award-winning customer service, may I add. So yeah, they come highly recommended from me. If you'd like to give them a go, head over to squarespace.com/Henry Turner and make sure you use the offer code Henry Turner at checkout to get yourself 10% off your first purchase. I'll put a link in the video description below. You also get a 14-day free trial with that link as well, so it's a bit of a no-brainer. Go and give it a go, see how you get on. Oh, what a spot, man, what a spot to sit and have a little bit of dins. Let me show you what I've got. It's nothing fancy, It's a meal deal. It's a meal deal from Sainsbury's. We've got a nana, we've got a berry fruit juice. I like them. Grab bag Monster Munch, only the best, and a tuna mayo sandwich. I told you it wasn't fancy. So, see you later lunch spot. We're actually heading down that path that you can perhaps see just down there. Now, we're not too far. I think we've probably got about 3 kilometres left, something like that. But I think we're going to get the best of the photography, probably the best of today's adventure as well from the latter part of this loop. So still a lot to look forward to. And I have got to figure out how to get down there. I was just thinking actually, I have not done this little quarry slate mining section area here any credit at all, because this is a brilliant area to photograph and to come around with your camera, but I think it's probably just not for me. That's the reason I'm sort of bypassing it all. But yeah, like if you come around here and that's your thing, this is brilliant. A lot of probably really nice intimate photography to be had as well of the slate itself. Some really nice textures and some nice patterns. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I haven't done it much justice at all. Another beautiful section of woodland here by the looks of it, a big oak woodland, and another reason, another good example as to how I'd have been raging if I was in search of autumn colour all day. This is so green still. Autumn is actually, I suppose, a little bit late this year. Just going off my experience from previous years, it is still so beautiful, and you can see that it's on the turn. But yeah, perhaps a little bit late this year. But I would have been raging, that is safe to say. So we're just coming into the beautiful little Langdale now. I love this spot, somewhere that I've not photographed enough of, or been to enough. It's one of the reasons why I've come this way today. But I just wanted to show you, when you're in this sort of area, you may notice a lot of these signs up to little Langdale quarries. This is a really cool spot, loads of caves. I think Cathedral Cavern or Cathedral Cave, it might just be called, is up there somewhere. And yeah, that's a really nice spot. I'm just not going to go up because, I mean, like before, I don't really know how I'd photograph it. And to be honest, it's going to be busy. That's why I'm not going up. But a bit further down here, there is a man-made subject that I've always wanted to photograph. I've never even been to it, and I think you're going to find it really interesting. So that is the subject, Slater Bridge. What a little beauty. So I've brought myself over here somewhat. I've not even been over it yet, but we are going that way, so I'll be able to show you. I think this is from the 1600s, a really old bridge. I mean, you can half tell by the way it looks. It's really, really worn out, especially on the bridge, which again, hopefully I'll show you, be able to show you in a sec. But I'm just going to try and grab a quick image from this perspective. I think those trees over there will turn in autumn. So once again, I think this will be better in the autumn time. I'm just going to quickly grab this because there are more people coming down. There we go, 320th. Wait for them people to move. There is your dinner. I think I got that then. I do want a bit more zoomed in. There we go. Yeah, they're both really decent. You know, conditions aren't great. Probably goes against of what I'm trying to talk about in this video. About, you know, not having to come out at sunrise and sunset all the time. But yeah, I do think that's going to be a pretty nice photograph all the same. And I'll show you the bridge when we get onto it now. It is really, really cool. So thinking about what I just said when I photographed the bridge there, about I might be going against what I've been chatting about in this video about coming out in the middle of the day. I suppose it doesn't mean that you shouldn't still check the weather conditions, you know, and then maybe head to a location that might be better suited for certain weather. So this morning it was really cloudy, so everywhere that I've been, I feel has been really well suited, you know, the woodlands, the sort of small little river scenes that we've been going past, and these sorts of more open areas. So I'm just coming off the track for a second because I feel as if we just gain a little bit of height, we may get a view of Little Langdale town, which is really close by, but I just haven't seen him yet. So, oh yeah, I'm just going to go up this hill and give it a try. We'll see what's going on at the top. So there we go, you can see Little Langdale town there. It was definitely worth coming up, and instantly I've spotted this lovely dry stone wall here. There's got to be a composition. I actually think that probably that is as far as I need to go. I think that is going to be the image there. I'm going to grab that now. Really simple. I've literally just got to shove it in aperture priority, but that is an undeniably nice scene. Very Lateland. We've got dry stone wall, we've got tarn, we've got trees, fells. It is wonderful. And yeah, okay, the light isn't ideal, but this is a pleasant little image and surely one to return to because this is very, very accessible. So I think through this gate there is a wasp's nest somewhere, and there is a lot. So I'm going to have to leg it through and head left. Right, the hood's going up. This is grim. There we go. Oh my God. That was horrendous. That was horrendous. I hope you sort of aired some of them so I didn't sound like a lunatic. Perhaps they're not even wasps. Right, better safe than sorry. Wow, look at that. Look at that, incredible vistas there. Cold Pike, Weatherlam again. Lingmore fell up there. Just beautiful with all the trees down at the bottom. I hate to say it again, but I'm gonna come autumn. And this is just a patchwork of colour. This walk would be amazing. I think I'm probably gonna have to come back and do this exact walk. You know, in autumn, probably in a week or two, because it's just been so nice. It just feels like it'd be so well suited to all of that colour, you know. Right, we are about 1 kilometre less than, maybe half a kilometre from where I've parked the van. So I'm going to leave you there, and thank you so much for tuning in. Please give the video a thumbs up if you could spare me a quick second. It really helps me out, and hit the subscribe button as well if you enjoy the content. Thank you so much for joining me on this wonderful adventure, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Out.